Kenny Rogers died 3 years ago. Now his wife breaks her silence. It's been a full 3 years since we bid farewell to the amazing Kenny Rogers. And now there's a bombshell announcement. His spouse has finally spoken out, revealing startling things about Rogers that no one would have anticipated from a spouse. In this segment, we're going to expose exclusive details shared by Kenny Rogers' widow, Wanda Miller, years after he left us. Kenny Rogers went down the aisle 5 times, and it's his last wife, Wanda Miller, who has decided to speak up. Before diving into the earth-shaking revelation she brings to light, let's revisit Kenny Rogers' history to glimpse into his actions. Long before Kenny Rogers became an esteemed musical legend, he was a small-town hopeful, guitar in tow, unraveling the complex melodies of his formative years. Born into modest beginnings on August 21st, 1938, in Houston, Kenny was not originally surrounded by the shine of entertainment. His father, Edward, earned his living as a carpenter, and his mother, Lucille, supported the family as a nurse's assistant. Amid the company of 7 siblings in a federal housing project in a poorer section of Houston, Kenny stood out as the first member of his family to walk across the high school graduation stage. Kenny Rogers' early life in the 4th Ward of Houston was marked by challenges and ongoing pressures. The San Felipe courts, where he was raised, were initially built for white residents, causing the displacement of communities of color. As one of 8 children, Rogers experienced firsthand the financial struggles his family endured. His father juggled carpentry and music, while his mother cleaned offices and worked at a hospital, all in an effort to support the family. Despite these hardships, Rogers' siblings recall the resilience fostered by their faith and the camaraderie within their neighborhood. "We were poor, there's no doubt about that," Rogers' brother Roy confessed in a People magazine interview. His sister Sandy mentioned, despite the financial hurdles, there was always hope for a better future. For Kenny Rogers and his family, a strong sense of community was not just among their relatives. Rogers in particular carried forward the lessons of thankfulness and giving he learned early on. Upon reaching celebrity status in the 1970s, Rogers remembered where he came from. His rise to fame wasn't seen as merely a personal success, but as a chance to help those who stood by him when times were tough. According to the Houston Press, Rogers was determined to repay the acts of kindness he had benefited from. In one heartwarming instance, he discovered a previous neighbor was in a bind, needing $600 for car repairs. Rogers responded by sending her $20,000, advising her to get a new car instead. The note he included summed up his grateful spirit. "Thank you for helping me pay my rent years ago." In his 2012 autobiography, Luck or Something Like It, Kenny Rogers delved into the intimate details of his life journey, shedding light on both his accomplishments and the trials that molded him. A significant subject he touched on was his father's affliction with alcoholism, a challenge that profoundly influenced Rogers and shaped key life decisions. Speaking with Reuters, Rogers disclosed the heart-rending truth that seeing his father's fight with alcohol and its fallout was a driving force behind his own choice to remain sober. His father's battles with drinking and the difficulties that arose from it led Rogers to decide early on to steer clear of alcohol altogether. This choice was driven by not only a desire to avoid the cycle of addiction, but also by concerns over a hereditary vulnerability to alcoholism, worrying he might end up walking a similar path as his father. Yet this resolve to stay sober was not without its emotional weight. In his memoir, Rogers expressed a deep-seated regret, a sorrow over not fully grasping the root causes of his father's struggle with alcoholism. The era following the Second World War, characterized by economic difficulties and widespread joblessness, set the stage for his father's difficulties with alcohol. Kenny Rogers spoke with a heavy heart about missing the chance to understand the deeper drives that led his father toward alcohol dependency. His reflection stands as a touching testament to the intricate dance of personal battles and the influence of broader societal challenges. Yet out of these tribulations, Kenny Rogers arose as a figure of resilience and optimism, embodying the notion of making the best out of a bad situation, exemplifying a lemons to lemonade philosophy. His memoir disclosed that Rogers, through his own experiences with alcohol and substances, found comfort and a sense of direction in photography. bridging the gaps in his musical career. Photography wasn't just an avenue for artistic expression, it also served as a source of healing. Beyond that, Rogers put his influence to good use by becoming a voice for individuals struggling with addiction, offering insights drawn from his personal confrontations with these challenges. Kenny Rogers' ascension to country music icon status is a chronicle steeped in a lifelong affair with melody. Immersed in a musical family, as reported by the New York Times, every relative played an instrument, making music an intrinsic part of home life. This foundation, however, did not shield him from the future struggles which he candidly discussed with Rolling Stone in 2014. His career's defining moments were characterized by resilience. An encounter with Steve Wynn, who, forewarned of his termination, tested Rogers, yet his dedication shone as he completed his engagements in a modest Vegas lounge. Pursuing a solo career, Rogers hit a barrier when music labels branded him too old for the youthful guise of country music. These rejections couldn't stall his steadfast pursuit. Larry Butler's emergence marked a critical turning point. The duo's collaboration bloomed, leading to the award-winning hit Lucille. When accepting his Grammy, Rogers publicly expressed his gratitude to Butler for helping him succeed in an industry that could have sidelined him for his age. Rewind to Rogers' dreams, influenced by the soulful Ray Charles, and his ambition was apparent. In his search for fame and female admiration, he formed the Scholars, a doo-wop cluster that experienced fleeting success and eventual hardship, leading Rogers to quip about their lack of scholastic achievement. Rogers' versatility took him from the jazz scene to the new Christy Minstrels, and eventually to fronting the First Edition. Rogers and the First Edition's popularity soared with tracks like Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, and their TV show Rolling on the River. These successes sculpted his pathway to stardom. Rogers' connection with his audience was through songs that resonated with universal emotions. In a 2012 discussion, Rogers dissected his lyrical narratives. He described his music as either tender ballads, articulating unsaid feelings, or storied songs with layered meanings, epitomized by tracks like Reuben James and Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town. Ruby painted a vivid portrait of a disabled veteran's broken heart, recognized through Rogers' poignant interpretation. Penned by Mel Tillis, the ballad explores the veteran's helplessness and heartache catalyzed by his wife's infidelity. Rogers' haunting reflection in the song, "And if I could move, I'd get my gun and put her in the ground," evokes the tragic depth of betrayal and despair. Kenny Rogers, merging his story with that of the everyman, became more than an artist. He was a narrative custodian in which personal experiences and societal narratives were sung with genuine realism. His trajectory from family jams to international acclaim manifested in a body of work that strengthened the very fabric of country music. His journey, with its ebbs and flows, epitomizes the portrait of an artist whose career became synonymous with the enduring legacy of authenticity and heart. The duo of Kenny Rogers and Dottie West transcended the boundaries of mere musical collaboration. It fostered a bond rooted in deep, unwavering friendship. Modeled after their collaborations on several albums that birthed major hits including Every Time Two Fools Collide and Anyone Who Isn't Me Tonight, their synergy bloomed both within and beyond the confines of the recording studio, as noted by Country Music Family. Their rapport extended into a profound companionship, spotlighting a remarkable journey not just of chart-topping melodies, but of genuine human connection. In what would unfold as a profound episode of his life, Kenny Rogers was among the last to see Dottie West before she met with a grievous fate in the early 90s. Amidst personal turbulence marked by divorce and financial woes as outlined by The Boot, Rogers emerged not just as a friend, but as a tower of support for West, uplifting her as she navigated through the storms to revitalize her career. Emblematic of their special bond was Rogers' compassionate act of gifting Dottie a car, serving not only as a helping hand but also as an emblem of their steadfast friendship. The narrative took a tragic turn on August 31st, 1991. It was under the unfortunate malfunctioning of this very gift that West found herself in dire straits, hastening to the Grand Ole Opry. In a desperate bid to salvage time with the help of a neighbor, calamity struck. A harrowing crash ensued against a freeway barrier. The aftermath was catastrophic for West, leading to critical injuries from which she would not recover, despite the valiant efforts of multiple surgical interventions. Lamenting over the tragedy and the magnitude of loss, Kenny Rogers disclosed in a 2014 Rolling Stone interview a deeply personal ambition of his to see Dottie West honored with her rightful place in the Country Music Hall of Fame. His dedication to preserving her legacy was not in vain. In 2018, his wish was fulfilled. In a poignant tribute on his Facebook page, Rogers celebrated the induction of my friend, the late very great Dottie West, into the hallowed halls of country music's pantheon. This gesture underscored a friendship that, even in absence and through music's eternal echo, managed to forge a legacy remembered and honored across the annals of country music history. In 2012, Kenny Rogers found himself at the forefront of a significant legal battle that spotlighted a critical issue in the music industry: the fair compensation of artists for digital sales. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Rogers initiated a lawsuit against Capitol Records, arguing that artists should receive 50% of the revenue generated from digital downloads and online sales. This lawsuit wasn't an isolated endeavor. Several other prominent artists, including the Allman Brothers, Rob Zombie and Sister Sledge, joined Rogers in similar class action lawsuits. The heart of the dispute underscored a systematic problem within the music industry. Estimates from industry analysts suggested that approximately $25 billion in revenue generated from online sales, particularly through platforms like iTunes, had not been appropriately distributed to artists. Rogers' lawsuit against Capitol Records highlighted this issue on a personal scale by claiming that the record label had withheld around $400,000 in profits from the digital sales of his music. This legal challenge shed light on a broader, pervasive issue in the industry, emphasizing the need for equitable revenue sharing in the age of digital music. Rogers' stance, alongside other notable figures, brought significant attention to the financial rights of artists in the era of online sales, advocating for a fairer distribution of the profits generated from their creative work. The lawsuit initiated by Kenny Rogers brought to the forefront a systemic flaw within the music industry, wherein artists were not receiving equitable earnings from digital sales. Despite attempts at an amicable resolution with the record company, the issue ultimately escalated to legal proceedings. The significance of Rogers' legal challenge transcended his individual grievance, casting a spotlight on the broader difficulties confronting artists in the digital era. As the traditional frameworks for artist compensation grappled to adapt to the fast-evolving online music consumption landscape, the case underscored the pressing need for reform. If you like this video, please leave a number 9 in the comments below. The ramifications of these legal disputes reverberated throughout the music industry, underlining the urgency for sweeping changes to secure fair compensation for artists' creative endeavors. As the industry transitioned towards streaming platforms by 2020, the disparity in artist remuneration became even more pronounced. Haley Bozer, a well-regarded senior lecturer in intellectual property law from Brunel University, London, underscored the persistent imbalance. With streaming services in the UK generating substantial profits, exceeding $1 billion, approximately $1.3 billion USD, in the previous year, Bozer brought attention to the stark reality faced by the majority of artists. Surprisingly, the annual earnings of 8 out of 10 artists from these platforms fell below $200, or approximately $250 USD. This data highlighted the ongoing battle for equitable compensation in the digital music landscape, advocating for essential reforms to establish a fair and viable industry for all involved parties. The eclectic musical preferences of Kenny Rogers mirrored his rich and varied upbringing, yet his steadfast commitment to his career often came at a personal cost. Rogers walked down the aisle 5 times, experiencing the dissolution of 4 of his marriages to Janice Gordon, Gene Rogers, Margot Anderson, and actress Marianne Gordon, each ending in divorce. Rogers embarked on matrimony for the first time at the tender age of 19 with Janice Gordon, propelled by the news of their impending parenthood with their daughter Carol. In his memoir, Rogers candidly expressed his genuine affection for Janice, despite the formidable opposition from her parents. They believed Rogers had derailed their daughter's life and were unwavering in their resolve to dissolve the union. Ultimately, their interventions yielded a regrettable outcome for Rogers, leading to the disintegration of the marriage. A painful resolution was reached in which Rogers would sever ties with his daughter Carol, a decision that undeniably left its mark on both their lives. Regarding his second marriage to John Rogers, Kenny acknowledged that a shared sense of ennui crept into their union, and together they decided not to have children, which played into their relationship's eventual end. Rogers' third matrimonial venture was with Margot Anderson, with whom he had a son, Kenny Jr. Reminiscing in an interview, Rogers characterized his 12-year marriage to Margot as thrilling. He recalled a blissful first 9 years. However, the joy eventually faded, leading to a decline that he partly attributed to the strains caused by his relentless touring. His subsequent marriage to Marianne Gordon resulted in another son, Christopher. However, their journey together would eventually falter, culminating in a 1993 divorce that stood out as one of the costliest at the time, incurring a staggering settlement of $60 million for Rogers. In a remarkable display of integrity and appreciation, Rogers later reflected on the divorce and publicly recognized that Marianne deserved every dollar of the settlement. He appreciated her steady support during the lean periods of his career, before he found his footing and flourished as a solo performer. This acknowledgement of Marianne's contribution to his life and career depicted the depth of Rogers' character, as he held no animosity and maintained a stance of gratitude for the shared years and support. During his union with his fourth spouse, Marianne Gordon, the whispers of a clandestine liaison between Kenny Rogers and the illustrious Dolly Parton were rife. The media was ablaze with conjecture fueled by their palpable rapport both in the limelight and during more private moments. Kenny openly owned up to the fact that their interactions had been laced with playful hints and flirtatious exchanges for over 3 decades, stirring fans and onlookers into believing that there must have been threads of romance interwoven with their friendship, especially given that both were wed to others at the time. The strength of their bond was unmistakably showcased in the video for You Can't Make Old Friends. Dolly herself vocalized the unique connection she shared with Kenny in an interview, remarking on the unmistakable chemistry and amity they shared that others too could feel. She posited, "There are different kinds of soulmates," indicating the deep yet non-romantic dimension of her relationship with Kenny. The two indeed had a connection that often goes unseen. Despite this, Dolly firmly stated in 2017 that their relationship was akin to that of siblings. Even so, their light-hearted dance of camaraderie and teasing never waned, underscoring a treasured and enduring friendship. In 2017, with a hint of mischief in his tone, Kenny Rogers disclosed the strategic choice to maintain a platonic relationship with Dolly Parton was to preserve the electric dynamic they shared. "I'm a believer that tension is better if you keep it than if you satisfy it," he elucidated, suggesting that their undeniable chemistry was better left unexplored to keep the spark alive. Throughout their long-standing friendship, Kenny stayed married, navigating the waters of companionship with his wife and his deep connection with Dolly. When Marianne, Kenny's fourth wife, was questioned in 2020 about any potential jealousy towards Dolly Parton, she expressed complete security in their marriage, emphasizing her deep understanding of Kenny. "I never felt uncomfortable at all. I just knew him so well." This underscored that the speculation surrounding Kenny and Dolly never posed a real threat to his marriages. Kenny held a profound love for all the women he was married to and didn't resort to pointing fingers when the relationships concluded. So what was the primary cause of turmoil in his marriages? Kenny provided insight into this in 2012, shedding light on the role his career played in the breakdown of his relationships. He equated music to being a mistress that was hard to rival for his wives. This passion for his craft, while a blessing for his career, acted as a wedge in his personal life. "When I became so focused on my career, I ended up neglecting my marriages. I blame myself and my love for music. It's like having a mistress you can't resist, and well, the mistress tends to win in a situation like that," Kenny confided, acknowledging that his devotion to music often overshadowed his marital commitments, thereby straining his romantic relationships. Kenny Rogers often infused humor into his reflections on his personal life, jokingly noting, "I mean, you can't call me commitment phobic. I've been married 5 times. After a string of marriages, he adopted a more relaxed approach to dating. However, it was in this period of laid-back encounters that he stumbled upon his ultimate life partner, Wanda Miller. A blind date at the Pry restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia, arranged by a friend, acted as the unexpected prologue to their love story. During a date that didn't quite hit the mark, Kenny caught sight of Wanda working her shift at the restaurant. There was something about her, particularly her authentic smile, that resonated with him. Out of respect for the woman he was with, Rogers refrained from introducing himself to Wanda then and there. Nonetheless, the impression she left was so strong that he called the restaurant later that night to inquire about her, leaving his number with a colleague of Miller's. Initially, Wanda was skeptical about the prospect, even dismissively setting aside Kenny's number. Yet, after some persuasion from her co-workers, she decided to return his call, and that decision marked the beginning of their relationship. Miller and Rogers spent about half a year getting to know each other before Wanda felt ready to talk to her parents about her relationship with the renowned musician. Their reaction to the news was less than enthusiastic, to put it mildly. Despite this, what began as a chance encounter evolved into a bond that would stand the test of time, eventually leading them down the aisle and through a shared life journey. The age difference of nearly 3 decades between Kenny Rogers and Wanda Miller was indeed significant, especially considering Rogers was 2 years older than Miller's parents. In a candid moment, Rogers recounted that Wanda's parents had concerns about him dating their 26-year-old daughter and weren't shy about expressing them. Understanding their perspective, Rogers, who by that time was a father of 3, empathized and reassured them with a promise that he would never hurt Wanda or betray their trust. This respectful approach led to a solid and sincere friendship with Miller's parents. The couple's relationship blossomed over the years, leading them to tie the knot on June 1st, 1997 at Kenny Rogers Ranch in Athens, Georgia, marking his 5th and final marriage. In reflection, Rogers claimed his marriage to Miller was the most fulfilling. His previous marriages, while filled with affection, occurred during a period in his life when he was enveloped in success and the material rewards that came with it, and perhaps not quite ready for the seriousness marriage entails. The birth of twin sons in 2004 brought a new set of considerations for Rogers, who, at that time, was initially hesitant about fatherhood again due to the awareness of his advancing years. He expressed a poignant sentiment. "Someone will be talking about his or her child going to college, and it breaks my heart. And that was the reason I didn't want children again, because I knew I wouldn't be there at the prime of their lives." This quote reveals Rogers' deep concerns about not being present during his children's most formative and critical experiences. Yet when Wanda, at 31, expressed her desire for children, Kenny gave the matter deep thought and concluded it would be unjust to deprive her of the maternal experience. They henceforth decided to pursue parenthood together, which joyously resulted in the birth of twin boys. Following their arrival, the iconic country musician chose to retire, turning his attention to savor more precious moments with his family. Despite the idyllic family life, Kenny's path wasn't without its trials, including a dalliance with substance use, which he candidly discussed in his memoir. He recounted one particularly memorable incident where he took drugs before a performance, believing it enhanced his stage presence and rapport with the audience. However, his band members were left perplexed, questioning his nonsensical ramblings about a zoo. Another adventurous yet singular experience involved acid, taking Kenny on an emotional whirlwind that he described as a one-off encounter. Among Kenny's reflections was an acknowledgement of a significant regret concerning cosmetic surgery. Opting for a procedure in hopes of rejuvenation, he specifically mentioned dissatisfaction with how his eyes turned out after the surgery. Despite this unease, Kenny rationalized the decision, considering the potential alternatives. He mused that the situation could have been more unfavorable and chose to view it as a step towards self-improvement, albeit with mixed feelings about the results. Acknowledging that his experience wasn't as adverse as it could have been, he adopted a perspective of gratitude, deciding to forego further complaints and to accept the outcome as part of his journey. Throughout all his life experiences, a blend of escapades and stinted regrets, Kenny Rogers found a sanctuary in the love and support of his cherished wife, Wanda Miller. With her by his side, the weight of his what-ifs became more manageable. Their union, seasoned with love and companionship, endured for 22 years until Rogers' departure from this world on March 20th, 2020. Before delving into the stirring disclosure made by Miller post Rogers' departure, It's important to clarify that there was no indication of a dire terminal illness as a precursor to his passing. The question of his health leading up to his final days has been a topic of speculation, but it appears that the inevitable impacts of aging took their toll in the form of deteriorating health, akin to the universal vulnerabilities that accompany advancing years. Kenny Rogers' farewell was a reflection of the times, a period marked by a global pandemic that required intimate, scaled-down gatherings, as opposed to grand public displays. Thus, his funeral was a quiet, deeply personal affair. His loss resonated with many, none more so than Dolly Parton, whose sorrow was profound, the news of his passing striking her with immense force. The iconic duets that Rogers and Parton shared will forever remain a testament to their extraordinary musical kinship. If you like this video, please leave a number 9 in the comments below. In the wake of 3 years since Rogers' passing, Wanda Miller, entrusted with his legacy, expressed her unguarded feelings. Opening up about her loss, she spoke of the deep void left by his absence, the absence of his love, his support, and his touch. However, life's perpetual march continues, and subsequently Miller has begun writing new chapters in her story, her heart finding room to embrace another partner. Before diving further, have you pondered the sweetness of their final days shared together? Picture serene moments filled with films and his favored dessert, vanilla ice cream draped in chocolate sauce. Indeed, a heartwarming scene to hold on to. Kenny Rogers, far removed from any semblance of pretension, was grounded in his essence, instilling the same values in his children. A poignant instance shared by Wanda illuminates this sentiment. Amidst concerns over how Kenny's passing at home might imprint on their children, one of their sons, Justin, offered a comforting outlook. "Mum, one thing about Dad passing away at home, his sweet spirit will be here forever." To which Wanda affirmed, "Absolutely, Justin, absolutely." In Kenny's absence, Wanda finds a unique comfort in the guise of red birds, messengers that seem to echo words of solace from her late husband. It's as if a clandestine dialect exists between them. Whenever conversations about Kenny arise, these crimson visitors land on the balcony or peer through the window, symbolizing to Wanda that he remains in perpetual vigil, safeguarding their home. Amidst navigating life without Kenny, Lionel Richie stands as a beacon of unwavering support for Wanda, embodying the role of a brother endowed with boundless affection. With regular check-ins every 10 days, Richie ensures Wanda feels a continued connection to Kenny's world, a gesture that significantly eases her journey through grief. Over the last 3 years, Wanda Miller has navigated her grief while working to keep Kenny's legacy alive. She's been instrumental in bringing to life an album, Life is Like a Song, a compilation of Kenny's recordings from 2008 to 2011. Wanda feels strongly that Kenny would be delighted and proud of this posthumous release. His music resonated deeply, often vocalizing the sentiments men wish to express and the reassurances women hope to experience. A standout track from the album is Goodbye, penned by Kenny's treasured friend Lionel Richie, serving as a touching ode to their long-standing bond. And while the sorrow of loss is palpable, Wanda has taken strides towards a new chapter in her life, starting with an unexpected personal development she shared during an interview. Kenny himself, in a profound act of love, was apparently supportive of her moving on, imparting his blessing and even playing a role in finding her a new companion. Wanda's intimate account sheds light on Kenny's thoughtful anticipation about their age difference, often contemplating the future with openness and sincerity. Capturing the essence of their conversation, Wanda relayed his words, "I'm not going to live forever. I want you to be happy. You're young. I want you to have a full life past me." With such encouragement and blessing, Kenny made clear his selfless wish for her lasting joy, echoing the depth of their love and his care for her long-term well-being. Indeed, it's a rare occurrence to hear a spouse, let alone one of Kenny Rogers' renowned fame, verbalize such forward-thinking desires for their partner's happiness. Although it must have been a heart-wrenching discussion at the time, those words Kenny shared with Wanda acted as a beacon, guiding her through the afterglow of his life and enabling her to embrace new beginnings without a shadow of disloyalty. Now, 3 years post Kenny's passing, Wanda has found a way to honor that wish, opening her heart once more to love. This new chapter is not only for her own fulfillment, but also serves as a living testament to their sons, Justin and Jordan. that the essence of life and love can flourish beyond the physical absence of a beloved. Kenny gave me his very best, and he wanted me to move on and be happy. That's a really big man to be able to say those words and mean it, Wanda conveyed during her interview. The path to rediscovering love wasn't immediate for Wanda. Dear friends were instrumental, bridging the introduction to a man potentially special, a mutual acquaintance of Kenny's. With this setup came a sage piece of advice, prefacing the potential outcomes of their meeting. If you don't date each other, you'll be friends forever. From a foundation based on friendship, their rapport grew, strengthened by her recognition of traits in him akin to Kenny, such as a knack for leadership and a resiliently positive spirit. While Wanda acknowledges the singularity of her relationship with Kenny and the enormity of his legacy, she applauds her new partner for the comfort and simplicity found in their growing love. It even became a light-hearted conversation topic among friends who'd mused that Kenny might have had a hand in orchestrating this newfound connection. Speaking to the presence of this new figure in their family dynamic, he reassures their children saying, "I'm not your dad. No one will ever take the place of your dad, but I'm here as your friend forever." This sentiment resonates deeply, underscoring the respect and understanding that permeates Wanda's new relationship and the continued honoring of Kenny's memory within their household. Absolutely, Kenny Rogers was indeed a singular presence in the lives of many, with his enchanting blend of charm, musical genius, and generosity touching the hearts of both those close to him and his legion of fans worldwide. His spirit, embodied in his songs and the memories he left behind, crafted a legacy that's as enduring as his influence on the music industry. Wanda's situation highlights a profound truth, that to love again isn't to diminish past affections or to overshadow a previous chapter. Instead, she's living out the very wish Kenny had for her, to immerse herself in life's fullness with joy and companionship, even beyond his time. This isn't an act of forgetting or forsaking, but is a tribute to the depth of their bond, a bond that even Kenny wanted to extend beyond his years to ensure her continued happiness. It's a sentiment surely shared by many who have experienced such loss and faced the complex journey of moving forward. The choice to find joy once more can be the ultimate homage to a lost loved one's memory and their desires for our well-being. What are your thoughts on this beautiful, complex weave of past, present, and future? If Kenny's story resonates with you, and you count yourself among his admirers, drop a K in the comments to show your appreciation for his life and music. And if you haven't already, click on the iconicinside subscribe button for more engaging updates. Keep the conversation going until our next encounter, and stay iconic. Leonardo DiCaprio, from breakdance to Oscar.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
From breakdancing on the streets of Santa Barbara to accepting an Oscar on the grandest stage in Hollywood, Leonardo DiCaprio's journey is a wild ride you won't believe. How did a kid who couldn't even land a role in a kids' TV series become a global superstar? Loved by Scorsese and loathed by Mark Wahlberg, what secrets lie behind his mysterious modeling agency and near-death experiences? And how did he go from playing Jack Dawson to Jordan Belfort, and finally to becoming the champion of the 2015 Academy Awards? The answers will shock you. Join me as we dive into the incredible life of Leonardo DiCaprio, a tale of talent, perseverance, and a hunger for greatness that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Let me take you back to the groovy year of 1974, when hippie culture, velvet, and rock and roll were all the rage. Irmeline and George were expecting their first child, a boy they would name Leonardo. Irmeline had fallen in love with the name while admiring a Da Vinci painting in Italy, and she felt her baby kick for the first time right then and there. George, an artist himself, didn't mind naming his son after the greatest artist of all time. Tragically, Irmeline and George split up before Leonardo turned 1, but they were determined to co-parent and give their child a loving and stable upbringing. George, who worked at a comic book store, instilled in Leonardo a love for the arts from a young age. Meanwhile, Irmeline, who spoke multiple languages, took Leonardo on adventures across Europe and introduced him to his German grandparents. Leonardo was barely out of diapers when he started performing in the living room, entertaining his family with impressions and dance moves. His parents saw a spark in him and began taking him to auditions. At just 5 years old, he landed a role on the TV show Romper Room, but he was so captivated by the cameras that he decided then and there to become an actor. For the next 7 years, Leonardo went to audition after audition, facing rejection after rejection. He even considered trading acting for breakdancing, which he was quite good at, and even made it into a local German newspaper. But he persisted, and finally, 4 long years later, he landed his first TV role in The New Lassie, appearing in 2 episodes. This marked the beginning of his career, followed by small parts in Roseanne, The Outsiders, Parenthood, and even Santa Barbara, his grandmother's favorite show. He worked his way up from one supporting role to another until he finally got his big break in the teen series Growing Pains. There, he quickly stole the spotlight from the show's star, Kirk Cameron, and became a heartthrob among teenage viewers. It's a testament to Leonardo's determination and passion for acting that he didn't give up, even when faced with rejection and disappointment. And it's clear that his parents' love and support played a big role in helping him achieve his dreams. Let's continue the story of Leonardo DiCaprio's journey to stardom. After his TV roles, he made his big screen debut in the horror film Critters 3, and from then on, he never looked back at television. His next audition for the movie This Boy's Life was a game changer. Directed by Michael Caton-Jones, the audition was a nerve-wracking experience, especially with Robert De Niro reading lines alongside him. Tobey Maguire, a childhood friend, was also vying for the role, making it a tense and competitive process. As he left the audition room, Leonardo thought to himself, "It's over." But fate had other plans. De Niro himself insisted that Leonardo was the right choice for the role, a decision that Leonardo remains forever grateful for. And in a show of loyalty, Leonardo convinced the director to cast Tobey Maguire in a supporting role. Landing a real movie role made Leonardo realize that his previous work had little to do with real acting. He needed to shed his teen heartthrob image and become a serious dramatic actor. The success of This Boy's Life helped him transition, but his next role took him to a whole new level. Playing Arnie in What's Eating Gilbert Grape was a breakthrough performance. Viewers were amazed by his convincing portrayal, with some even wondering if he was actually mentally impaired in real life. Director Lasse Hallström recalled how Leonardo got into character in a snap, and during one intense scene he stopped filming, worried about the actor's well-being. But Leonardo quickly dropped character and asked with a smile, "Is everything okay?" Despite the intense role, he remained a teenager at heart. These early movie roles marked a turning point in Leonardo's career, showcasing his talent and dedication to his craft. He was no longer just a TV actor, but a serious movie star, ready to take on more challenging roles and make a lasting impact in the film industry. His role in What's Eating Gilbert Grape earned him his first Golden Globe and Oscar nominations, a testament to his talent and dedication. However, not everyone was a fan of his on set. Johnny Depp recalls Leonardo being a bit of a handful, always chatting about video games and sneaking cigarettes when his mother wasn't looking. Despite this, Leonardo's career was taking off. He landed a role in the big-budget western The Quick and the Dead alongside Russell Crowe and Sharon Stone. Interestingly, Sharon Stone was a big supporter of Leonardo and even paid him out of her own pocket when the studio hesitated due to his rising star power. His participation in the film cost her $120,000. In 1995, Leonardo starred in The Basketball Diaries, a gritty drama about teen drug use. Although it received mixed reviews and was banned or heavily edited in several countries, it showcased Leonardo's range as an actor. Director Scott Calvert chose Leonardo for the lead role based on his appearance, unaware of his growing fame. However, Leonardo had a say in the casting of other actors and even made Mark Wahlberg audition 6 times for the role of Mickey. Initially, the two actors had a tense relationship, constantly joking and taking jabs at each other. But they eventually became close friends and delivered a powerful performance that highlighted the issue of drug addiction. 1995 was a remarkable year for Leonardo, culminating in the release of Total Eclipse, a biographical drama about the tumultuous romance between French poets Paul Verlaine and Arthur Rimbaud. In 1996, he took on the iconic role of Romeo in Baz Luhrmann's modern adaptation of Shakespeare's classic tale. Although Leonardo wasn't a huge Shakespeare fan at first, Luhrmann's vision and enthusiasm drew him in. And it's a good thing it did, as the film became a massive box office hit, grossing over 10 times its budget. As Romeo, Leonardo's performance captivated audiences worldwide, and Leomania was born. Fans couldn't get enough of him, and poor Kristen Zhang, his then-girlfriend, felt the brunt of it. My fans sent me tons of hate mail, and we were practically torn to pieces on that red carpet, Leonardo recalled. The couple eventually parted ways in 1997. Leonardo's next project, Marvin's Room, was a critically acclaimed drama that reunited him with Robert De Niro and co-starred Meryl Streep and Diane Keaton. The poignant story of two sisters resonated with audiences and critics alike. But the real game-changer was yet to come. James Cameron's Titanic was one of the most ambitious projects in Hollywood history, with a budget of over $200 million. Leonardo was cast alongside Kate Winslet, and the rest, as they say, is history. Jeremy Sisto, an actor who came close to landing the role of Jack in Titanic, had high praise for Leonardo DiCaprio, saying, "What is it about Leo? He's got everything it takes and more to be one of the biggest stars in the world. It's a combination of his looks, charm, uniqueness — any great star has to be unique in some way — and solid acting capability. I mean, he's just really, really good." Sisto was the closest contender for the role of Jack Dawson, which ultimately went to Leonardo. Interestingly, other big names like Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and Macaulay Culkin had also auditioned for the part, but didn't make the cut. James Cameron's decision to cast Leonardo proved to be a masterstroke, as the film went on to become a global phenomenon. The shooting process was a monumental task, with a miniature ocean, a reconstructed Titanic, and hundreds of props. But the cast rose to the challenge, delivering an unforgettable viewing experience. Fascinatingly, the famous "I'm the King of the World" scene was Leonardo's own improvisation. And as a fun fact, the nude scene was shot long before that iconic scene. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. The filming of Titanic was a remarkable experience, with director James Cameron aiming for authenticity. In the iconic scene where Jack draws Rose, Cameron wanted the actors to feel awkward, as if they had just met. However, Kate Winslet took matters into her own hands and showed Leonardo DiCaprio her breasts before the scene, easing his nerves. Titanic's box office success was unprecedented, grossing over $2 billion and becoming the second highest grossing film in history after Avatar. The film's appeal was evident, with 7% of American teenage girls seeing it at least twice in the first 5 weeks. The Film Academy also recognized its excellence, awarding it 11 Oscars and 14 nominations, a record shared only with Ben-Hur and The Lord of the Rings. However, Leonardo DiCaprio's behavior at the time was puzzling. He informed Cameron that he wouldn't attend the Oscar ceremony, which James Cameron described as the behavior of a spoiled brat. Leonardo further expressed his desire to distance himself from commercial projects and admitted regretting not being part of Boogie Nights, a film he still regrets turning down. However, his comment was somewhat misleading, as it sounded like he regretted starring in Titanic, for which he received a Golden Globe nomination. To clarify, Paul Thomas Anderson, the director of Boogie Nights, had wanted Leonardo to play the lead role of Dirk Diggler, a porn star. When Leonardo declined the offer, Anderson reportedly said, "Let the other guy from Basketball Diaries have it," referring to Mark Wahlberg, who ultimately landed the role. After Titanic, Leonardo had a close call with death while parachuting with friends, but luckily escaped unharmed. He then moved on to his next project, where he played a villain for the first time. After Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio took on the role of King Louis XIV in the screen adaptation of The Man in the Iron Mask, a project that brought together a talented ensemble of Hollywood legends. Following a brief cameo in Woody Allen's Celebrity, Leonardo took a 2-year hiatus from the big screen. He returned in 2000 with a starring role in Danny Boyle's The Beach, a film that initially had Ewan McGregor lined up for the lead. However, the studio insisted on having Leonardo on board, leading to a conflict that resulted in Ewan not speaking to Danny for 15 years. Meanwhile, Leonardo received his first 7-figure paycheck for the role. Ewan eventually got his revenge when he landed the lead in Moulin Rouge, a film directed by Leonardo's friend Baz Luhrmann. The Beach, despite its gloomy tone, broke even at the box office thanks in large part to Leonardo's presence. Around the same time, he began his first serious relationship with Brazilian model Gisele Bündchen, which lasted until 2005. However, the new millennium also marked the beginning of a series of legal battles for Leonardo, starting with a lawsuit related to the film Don's Plum. This 1995 film, which co-starred Tobey Maguire, was delayed for 5 years, with the producers waiting for the actors' names to gain enough recognition to attract audiences. Leonardo and Tobey, however, had asked studios not to distribute the film, leading to a lawsuit demanding $40 million in damages. The case dragged on until 2007, when the actors were able to prove that they had acted in the film as a personal favor to a friend, with the understanding that it wouldn't be released widely. Back in the day, James Cameron was working on a Spider-Man screenplay, and Leonardo DiCaprio was the top contender for the lead role. However, things didn't quite work out, and both Cameron and DiCaprio left the project. Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire eventually took the reins, but Leonardo didn't regret the missed opportunity. Instead, it led him to collaborate with the legendary Martin Scorsese on Gangs of New York. Filming in Rome, Leonardo found himself confined to his hotel room due to his massive fan following. But on set, he still had to navigate a different kind of chaos. Cameron Diaz, at Scorsese's request, had to physically hit Leonardo during a scene, leaving him with a numb face and a headache that halted filming. In another intense moment, Leonardo accidentally broke Daniel Day-Lewis's nose during a fight scene, but the dedicated actor continued in character until the end of the take. Despite critical acclaim and 10 Oscar nominations, the film surprisingly underperformed at the box office. However, it set a record by not winning any of the awards it was nominated for. The following year, Leonardo teamed up with Steven Spielberg for the comedy Catch Me If You Can. Neither Leonardo nor Tom Hanks were the initial choices for their roles. Spielberg had originally planned to cast Johnny Depp and James Gandolfini, but they both left the project. This collaboration resulted in a light-hearted and entertaining film, showcasing Leonardo's versatility as an actor. His ability to adapt to different roles and work with esteemed directors has cemented his position as a respected figure in the film industry. With a career spanning decades, Leonardo has consistently demonstrated his dedication to his craft, and his ability to connect with his co-stars and bring authenticity to his performances has made him a beloved figure in the entertainment industry. Leonardo DiCaprio's collaboration with Steven Spielberg on Catch Me If You Can led to a fascinating encounter with Frank Abagnale, the real-life inspiration for the film. Abagnale's autobiography served as the script's basis, and he even made cameo appearances on set. Although the film didn't win many awards, Leonardo received his third Golden Globe nomination. In 2004, Leonardo reunited with Martin Scorsese for the biopic Aviator, portraying the enigmatic billionaire Howard Hughes. To prepare, Leonardo extensively researched Hughes's life, meeting with people who knew him and experiencing the challenges of obsessive-compulsive disorder firsthand. This dedication paid off as the film received 11 Oscar nominations and won 5, including a Golden Globe for Best Actor. Scorsese's meticulous attention to detail was evident in the film's color grading, which shifted to reflect the era's cinematography. Following this success, the duo began working on their next project, a remake of the Hong Kong thriller Internal Affairs. Initially, Scorsese envisioned Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in the lead roles, but Tom backed out and Brad opted to produce instead, citing his age. Jack Nicholson was eventually convinced to play Frank Costello after Leonardo and Scorsese personally met with him. This remake, titled The Departed, would go on to win 4 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. Leonardo's portrayal of Billy Costigan, an undercover cop, earned him critical acclaim. The film's success marked a milestone in Leonardo's career, solidifying his position as a versatile and accomplished actor. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Leonardo DiCaprio's experience working on The Departed was particularly challenging thanks to the intense scenes with Jack Nicholson. Unbeknownst to the cast and crew, Nicholson had a real gun on set, which caused a stir when it was discovered. Scorsese recalled the shock and fear that gripped everyone, leading to cuts in the scene. However, Leonardo's genuine reaction of fear made it into the final cut, adding to the film's intensity. The Departed marked a milestone in Leonardo's career, with Martin Scorsese finally winning his first Oscar. That same year, Leonardo received his third Oscar nomination for Blood Diamond, an action thriller filmed in South Africa. This project had a profound impact on Leonardo's life as he began visiting orphanages and supporting local communities. He even adopted a girl from one of the orphanages, maintaining a connection with her to this day. Blood Diamond sparked controversy, drawing attention from authorities and prompting the South African government to address issues related to illegal diamond mining. Meanwhile, Leonardo had a close call while scuba diving in a shark cage, his second near-death experience. "A great white jumped into my cage when I was diving in South Africa," the actor tells Wired. "Half its body was in the cage and it was snapping at me. I sort of fell down to the bottom of the cage and tried to lie flat. The great white took about 5 or 6 snaps an arm's length away from my head. The guys there said that has never happened in the 30 years they'd been doing it. It flipped itself back out again. I have it on video, it's insane." In 2008, Leonardo returned to the screen with Revolutionary Road and Body of Lies, reuniting with previous co-stars. Body of Lies, an action film about CIA agents, marked his second collaboration with Russell Crowe. Leonardo's collaboration with Kate Winslet and Kathy Bates in Revolutionary Road marked a reunion with his Titanic co-stars. His close friendship with Kate likely contributed to their convincing performances in this challenging drama. Once again, DiCaprio joined forces with Martin Scorsese, initially intending to make The Wolf of Wall Street. However, the studio deemed it too expensive, and instead, they worked on creating the thriller Shutter Island. Notably, Shutter Island is an anagram of the phrase truth and lies, reflecting the film's complex themes. This puzzle piece is just one of many cleverly hidden throughout the picture. In our opinion, Shutter Island is one of the best thrillers of all time, drawing inspiration from the film noir era and Hitchcock's Vertigo, which was Scorsese's inspiration. Although the film's release was initially set for 2009, the studio pushed it to February 2010 to capitalize on Oscar buzz and save on advertising costs. Despite this strategic move, Shutter Island became the duo's only joint project without a single Academy Award nomination. Nonetheless, they still broke even and earned a spot on every list of top thrillers. In 2009, Leonardo visited Russia, where he had his third near-death experience. While flying business class, he witnessed a terrifying incident that would leave a lasting impression. As he recounted, "I was in business class and an engine blew up in front of my eyes. It was right after Sully Sullenberger landed in the Hudson. I was sitting there looking out at the wing, and the entire wing exploded in a fireball." DiCaprio, the sole witness to this dramatic event, described the scene with vivid detail. "I was the only one looking out at the moment this giant turbine exploded like a comet. It was crazy." The plane fell silent as the engines were shut down, leaving passengers gliding through the air in a state of disbelief and uncertainty. "They shut all the engines off for a couple of minutes, so you're just sitting there gliding with absolutely no sound, and nobody in the plane was saying anything. It was a surreal experience." Thankfully, the pilots managed to restart the engines and execute an emergency landing at JFK Airport. Meanwhile, Christopher Nolan had been developing a film about dreams for over 2 decades, and he knew Leonardo was the perfect fit for the lead role. After reading the script, Leonardo agreed to join the project, and he and Nolan spent 2 months refining the character and rewriting scenes. According to Emma Thomas, Nolan's wife and producer, their collaboration transformed the story from a puzzle into a character-driven journey that resonated with audiences. Leonardo DiCaprio has opened up about the challenges he faced while working on films like Inception and Shutter Island. He found it difficult to navigate the lack of a clear villain and the intense dramatic tension in these movies. However, his experience working with Marion Cotillard on Inception was particularly memorable, as she brought a new level of dedication to their scenes together. According to Leonardo, Marion's meticulous approach to preparation and rehearsal raised the bar for his own performance. Inception's director, Christopher Nolan, drew inspiration from his own experiences in the film industry when creating the characters for the movie. He modeled the members of the Inception team after a real film crew with Cobb as the director, Arthur as the producer, and so on. This unique approach added another layer of complexity to the film's already intricate plot. In 2011, Leonardo took on the role of John Edgar Hoover in the biographical drama J. Edgar, directed by Clint Eastwood. This project presented a significant challenge, as it spanned over 60 years of Hoover's life and required a team of specialists to bring the story to life. Leonardo's commitment to the role was evident in his willingness to endure lengthy makeup and hair sessions, which included layers of silicone, body pads, wigs, and a prosthetic nose. That same year, Leonardo finally had the opportunity to work with Quentin Tarantino on Django Unchained. Although Tarantino had initially considered Leonardo for a role in Inglourious Basterds, he ultimately decided to cast a German-speaking actor instead. However, their desire to collaborate didn't fade, and Leonardo joined the ensemble cast of Django Unchained, playing the villainous Calvin Candy. Tarantino himself admitted that Calvin was the only character he'd created without any redeeming qualities, making Leonardo's performance all the more impressive. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. Leonardo DiCaprio faced a significant challenge in portraying pure evil on screen, particularly in his role as Calvin Candy in Django Unchained. This was only his second villainous role, and he found it difficult to immerse himself in the character's racist and violent nature. During filming, he even struggled to complete a scene due to the overwhelming amount of racist comments. Despite the challenges, Leonardo's commitment to his craft led to some intense and memorable moments on set. During one scene, he cut his hand while banging on a table but continued acting as if nothing had happened. The film crew was so impressed that they gave him a standing ovation after the take. Tarantino, known for his quick thinking, even incorporated Leonardo's injured hand into the scene, using fake blood to add a touch of realism. Leonardo's performance in Django Unchained earned him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor, although the award ultimately went to his co-star Christopher Waltz. Next, Leonardo transformed into the iconic Jay Gatsby in Baz Luhrmann's adaptation of The Great Gatsby. This marked his first collaboration with Tobey Maguire since This Boy's Life, and his second with Luhrmann after Romeo and Juliet. The film's costumes and set design received an Oscar, and it became another sensation in Leonardo's career. While playing the charismatic Gatsby on screen, Leonardo continued his environmental activism off-screen. In 2013 alone, he spent $3 million on preserving Nepalese tigers. That same year, he finally got the funding to shoot The Wolf of Wall Street, his fifth collaboration with Martin Scorsese. To prepare for the role of Jordan Belfort, Leonardo spent several months with the real Belfort, learning everything from broker slang to how to behave under the influence of heavy drugs. The film is full of improvisations, and Leonardo's incredible performance created an unforgettable character. Martin Scorsese is known for giving his actors creative freedom, which often leads to exceptional performances. However, his fifth collaboration with Leonardo DiCaprio, The Wolf of Wall Street, didn't quite go as planned. Despite receiving an Oscar nomination, Leonardo didn't take home the award, and the film's success was overshadowed by a real-life FBI investigation into money laundering and corruption. The Malaysian scandal, which involved the theft and concealment of funds by the Malaysian Prime Minister and his son, was directly connected to The Wolf of Wall Street. The film's production company, Red Granite, was owned by the same individuals involved in the scandal, and they had invested over $100 million in the film. As a result, Leonardo was forced to testify before the FBI and return a gift he had received from Red Granite, the actual Oscar statuette won by Marlon Brando. Although Leonardo was never confirmed to be involved in any crimes, he had to return any gifts he received that were connected to the stolen money. This wasn't the end of Scorsese's connections to multi-billion-dollar Asian companies, however. In 2015, he directed a commercial short called The Audition, which starred Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Brad Pitt. The commercial had a record-breaking budget of $70 million, making it the most expensive commercial in history. Scorsese and DiCaprio's next project together will be a biopic about Theodore Roosevelt, although little is known about the project, and it's not expected to be released until at least 2022. In the meantime, Leonardo has been focusing on his philanthropic work, particularly in the area of climate change. In 2014, he was appointed a United Nations ambassador for climate change and has since dedicated more time to this role than to his acting career. Before filming The Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio had already committed to working on The Revenant with director Alejandro González Iñárritu. Iñárritu agreed to wait until DiCaprio finished filming Wolf, and in the meantime, he worked on Birdman. Once DiCaprio was available, he was offered the role of Steve Jobs in the biopic of the same name, but he turned it down out of respect for Iñárritu and his interest in The Revenant. The Revenant proved to be the greatest challenge of DiCaprio's career, requiring him to learn new skills like firing a musket, starting a fire, and speaking Native American dialects. He also had to endure long hours in makeup and eat raw bison meat, despite being a vegetarian. Despite the many difficult and dangerous scenes, DiCaprio didn't get hurt once during filming, thanks to the expertise of the stunt coordinators and film crew. DiCaprio brought Tom Hardy onto the project, and the two actors made a wager during filming. The loser had to get a tattoo chosen by the winner, and Hardy lost, resulting in a tattoo that reads, "Leo knows all," in DiCaprio's handwriting. The film was a huge success, earning $500 million at the box office, receiving rave reviews, and winning numerous awards. It marked the pinnacle of DiCaprio's career, and he took a 4-year break from acting afterward. DiCaprio's next project was supposed to be the drama Black Hand about the Italian Sherlock Holmes, but he delayed filming to work on Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood instead. This criminal thriller also stars Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie. After the success of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Leonardo DiCaprio continued to choose projects that aligned with his passion for environmental and social issues. In 2020, he starred in the Netflix satirical comedy Don't Look Up alongside Jennifer Lawrence. The film, a thinly veiled allegory for climate change denial, received mixed reviews but sparked important conversations about the urgency of addressing environmental concerns. DiCaprio's dedication to environmental activism remained unwavering. He continued to use his platform to raise awareness about climate change, deforestation, and the protection of endangered species. His foundation, the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, continued to support numerous environmental projects around the globe, from protecting rainforests to promoting clean energy solutions. His next acting project saw him reunite with Martin Scorsese for the historical crime drama Killers of the Flower Moon, based on the Osage Indian murders in the 1920s. This film explored themes of greed, corruption, and the exploitation of indigenous communities. DiCaprio's commitment to portraying complex and morally ambiguous characters continued to showcase his versatility as an actor. Beyond acting, DiCaprio's entrepreneurial spirit led him to explore new ventures. He invested in sustainable businesses and technologies, recognizing the potential for innovation to address environmental challenges. He also became involved in the production of documentaries, using the power of storytelling to shed light on pressing issues and inspire action. Leonardo DiCaprio's journey from a young boy captivated by cameras to a Hollywood icon and environmental champion is a testament to his unwavering dedication, talent, and passion. His commitment to using his platform for good has made him a role model for aspiring actors and activists alike. As we conclude the remarkable story of Leonardo DiCaprio, we're reminded that success is not solely defined by awards or accolades, but by the journey itself. Leo's unwavering dedication to his craft, his willingness to take risks, and his passion for storytelling have inspired countless individuals around the world. What can we learn from Leo's journey? That our dreams are worth fighting for, and that every setback is an opportunity to grow stronger and more resilient. Let's carry these lessons with us as we navigate our own paths, and remember that our stories are still being written. Hit 9 if you connected with this story, or 0 if it fell short for you. Your feedback matters. Share your thoughts and comments below, and let's continue the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to Iconic for more inspiring stories and behind-the-scenes looks at the lives of iconic figures. Thanks for watching.